Undesigned coincidences. This is when a fact in one gospel account is confirmed almost accidentally by another gospel account. There are a nice handful of these between the four gospel accounts, as well as embarrassing details and other criterions that historians use to determine the reliability of ancient historical documents. I have made other videos on both of these, and you'll find links for two of them in the video description box below. And in this video, we will look at another undesigned coincidence, where yet again, a little puzzle we sit left with after reading one gospel account is clarified in another gospel account. And as perhaps the world's most famous atheist New Testament scholar Bart Ehrman says,
we have all of these sources of information. I mean, you have these four gospels, but these four gospels are based on earlier sources that were all independent of each other,
So, with all that out of the way, if you have 2 minutes available, let's get into another video. In Mark chapter 3, we read about when Jesus is appointing his 12 disciples. And when we get to verse 17, we read something that is rather peculiar. Two of the men Jesus appoints, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John, Mark records that Jesus gave them the name Boanerges, which means sons of thunder. This is a bit strange. Like, where did that come from? It doesn't appear in Mark's account again, or any other gospel accounts. So what to make of this rather unusual nickname, if you will? Well, here's when it becomes very interesting reading all the four gospel accounts together. Because as mentioned in the beginning of this video, also this whole sons of thunder thing, the missing puzzle in one gospel account seems to be found randomly and accidentally in another gospel account. Let me show you what I'm talking about. In, for example, Matthew chapter 10 and Luke chapter 9, we see that Jesus sends out his 12 apostles before him to villages and towns to proclaim the kingdom of heaven, and that he blessed the 12 with powers to heal the sick, raise the dead, and drive out demons, really laying a solid foundation for what was to come after his death and resurrection, when his gospel would be preached. Which brings us to Luke chapter 9 verse 51 to 56. Jesus was going determined to Jerusalem because the time was near for him to finishing his mission. Now on the way to Jerusalem, he sent messengers ahead of him that entered the village of the Samaritans to make arrangements for him. But they did not receive him. And if you know your history, Samaritans and Jews had a long, ugly history of
2 hours later,
not exactly getting along well. And because Jesus was going to Jerusalem, where the root of all the conflict with the Jews came from, they did not welcome Jesus into the village. And this treatment of Jesus, God incarnate, James and John were not having that. Luke records the following in chapter 9 verse 54. When his disciples, James and John, saw this, they said, "Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them?" But he turned and rebuked them, and they went on to another village. It's almost like they were just waiting for permission from Jesus to actually go through with this. Because remember, as we just went through, Jesus had previously given them powers to do miracles when he sent out the 12 to witness in the lost towns and villages of Israel. So with this context, plus thunderous anger and temperament for how the Samaritans in this village disrespected Jesus and did not welcome him, it really seems like a random and accidentally undesigned coincidence in Luke chapter 9, providing the missing puzzle for how this Sons of Thunder name came about that we read in Mark chapter 3.
Thunder exploding out of your chests at every turn. In fact, that's what I'm going to call you from now on. James and John, the Sons of Thunder. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Today, it was not good. But strong passion can be a good thing when channeled for righteousness.